is the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. To learn more about Next Level Loan Officers, go to becomennl.com.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Next Level Loan Officers podcast, the number one community for loan officers by loan officers anywhere out there in the universe. I'm Kellen Vaughn, one of the founders and coaches here at Next Level. I'm broadcasting live from our world headquarters here in Texas, and I am joined, by none other than fellow co-founder and good friend, Shane Kidwell. Shane, welcome to the studio.
Well, I mean, I'm certainly not broadcasting from the nationwide headquarters, but, just little old Shane in Seattle, Washington, but I'm glad to be on.
Well, listen, we have to reach all ends of the earth and every loan officer. So we're broadcasting from the big studio today. Hey, listen, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something like that, and you're like, hey, I wonder what these guys look like, jump on over to YouTube, because we actually YouTube these podcasts as well. And you can see us and be quickly disappointed that it's not very exciting behind the scenes. But we have a lot of other really good content over there. So check us out, Next Level Loan Officers over on YouTube. Other than that, man, we're ready to get started for today. And what a day it is. Listen, we're going to tackle a fundamental here. We're going through a little bit of a series right now where we're tackling some big building blocks. And I don't know, Shane, that there's a bigger building block than ATMs. But here we are, and we're going to try to tackle it in the precious moments that we have with our listeners today. And listen, if you're a loan officer and you're listening to this and you don't know what ATMs are, then hang in here, because this is going to be a game changer for you and your business. If you can understand this concept of doing actions that matter. And so, Shane, share with everybody real quick, like somebody's going, oh, actions that matter, what is that? Let's back up for just a second and talk a little bit about like how somebody would determine what an ATM even is. And then we'll get into types of ATMs and then how a loan officer would actually use it in their daily life.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm actually going to go even farther back to the origin of the ATM, because I think it's important to understand how impactful these things really are. So, we would be hypocritical to say, hey, you should be in a community with like-minded people and not have one of those for ourselves. And I've had many coaches in my career, and some Navy SEAL that was a little bit more direct, some a little bit softer and kinder, and everything in between. And we had met with a coach, and our goal as a group of owners was to really refine our day-to-day practices. Now, it wasn't specific to mortgage at the time. It was, what are the things that you're going to do in your day that are non-negotiables? For you at the time, I think you had 3 boys. Now you have 4. There are things that like your boys are always going to get, some of your good time. Right. You're always going to spend time with your wife. Maybe you had a weekly date night. Maybe you were working out at 5 a.m. Maybe it was reading a business journal or listening to a podcast. Those were actions that matter in your life. And as we were going over these things and building new life habits, we thought, oh my gosh, why wouldn't we just do this specifically in our mortgage space? And so the ATMs, the actions that matter, came about from the standpoint of, these are the things that are non-negotiable. And I almost cringe saying that word, because people have really thinned the definition of non-negotiable. Nothing else matters if these things don't get done. Right? Like you could say, hey, well, I've got to check my email and I've got to do these other things. And, I got to organize that loan file and print the docs and whatever. Well, if I'm not generating future business, revenue, leads coming in the door, right? And you can break that down. How do I get a lead? Well, I work with a referral partner. How do I get a referral partner? Well, I gotta go farm for them. Yep. If you're not doing those things, your business goes away. If you're a farmer and you're not planting seeds, there's no crop to sow every quarter. Right. And so that's the ATMs in our business, the things that are non-negotiable. And we didn't want to have people time block 8 hours a day. I think that for salespeople like you and I, and we are the pot calling the kettle black, saying, hey, you're going to time block for 8 hours is not realistic. Now, scheduling appointments, using Calendly, having blocks or buckets of time where you do focus on those dollar producing activities is non-negotiable. That's essential in your business. And so we wanted to really drive home a simple strategy to get one action done every day of your work week. For business specifically, take an hour or more. And these are different for everybody. And also something to think about is, there's a lot of people out there that will preach one way. Hey, you've got to every Monday call 50 agents, or every Wednesday you have to have coffee with 3 agents. The reality is that in the business today, there are hundreds of ways to generate revenue. And who am I to tell you that the strategy that works for me in my market, with my technology, my platform, my company, my rates, my brand is the same strategy as for you? The reality is, your strategies better than anyone, or you invest the time to get with a coach to really refine what those things are.
That's right. So let's continue this path, because as you're thinking, you may have actions that matter and non-negotiables for your personal life, right? Or your physical fitness life, or your financial life, or your spiritual life. And that's awesome. You should. Today, we're talking about your business life. And so there's 3 rules that define an ATM. So if you're sitting here thinking about, well, what would be an ATM for me in my life? I'm going to give you 3 rules, and it should fall into these 3 rules. Whatever the activity is, it should be something that you like to do, meaning if I told you you had to do this activity for the rest of your life in your mortgage career, you would be okay doing that, right? So you have to like to do it. You have to be good at doing it. That's rule number 2. So we can't do ATMs that we're not good at. As an example, I'm terrible at taking a 1003 application. It's not my forte. I don't want to do it. I don't like to do it. So there we go. 2 rules. It's out. It can't be an ATM for me. So in this case, I would find somebody else on my team who does like to do that, and they take that role. And thirdly, and maybe most importantly, and probably the hardest one for loan officers to get past, is it has to be a money-making activity. It has to make you money, right? So you have to be good at it, or you have to like it, you have to be good at it, and it has to be a money-making activity. If it qualifies all 3 of those activities, then it's good to go to be an ATM in your business. Now, Shane mentioned it earlier. I hate the term time blocking. I think people who try to time block their entire day, from the moment they get up until the moment they go to bed, every bathroom break, every lunch, every meal, every drink, every meeting, every conversation, I think you'll wear yourself out and it'll be short-lived. What we ask you to do as it relates to ATMs is to block 1 hour, right? Start with 30 minutes a day, move up to 45 minutes a day, move up to an hour a day. And to Shane's point, this time becomes non-negotiable. And during that time, we're executing those ATMs, these activities that we like to do, that we're good at, and that make us money. You have if you work an 8-hour day, you have 7 other hours in the day to do everything else you want to do.
Or
you want to chase conditions? Go for it. You want to go to lunch? Go for it. You want to take applications? Go for it. But during that hour, that's your ATM time blocked hour, you're not doing any of that stuff. If your ATM doesn't involve your phone, put your phone in another room. If it doesn't involve email, turn your email off. No distractions, you're executing it. All right. So let's talk through now, Shane. Give us some examples. We coach a lot of loan officers. We have a lot of loan officers in our community following this program. So let's talk, for people listening here who need some ideas on maybe what some ATMs are. Let's talk through some practical examples about what a loan officer might use in their day.
Yeah. So first and foremost, what I would always recommend is, to your point, you write down the top 5 things you're good at, you like to do, and make you money. Top 5. Now, then break down what is the best day and the best time for each one of those tasks. It's not that everything should be done at 9 a.m. every day or 11 a.m. Like for me, if I'm having coffee with a real estate agent and that's an ATM, that's really better for me to do between like 10 and 1, right? So I think it's really important to not get stuck in this one size fits all box that is completely inaccurate for the mortgage industry in 2022, right? So that's the first key. Now, looking at some of the ATMs that like I've done in my life, I would say that I would really shy away from doing real estate agent focused ATMs on a Monday, with the exception of you might have an ATM where it's write content. So maybe you take an hour every Monday and you're writing content that you are going to strategically post throughout the week. That could be a great thing for a Monday, right? And I would also just pause for a second, put a bookmark in this, and just drop one other suggestion or idea to this group. And that is having a time before your Monday starts that you are organizing your week, right? Like our coach would call that the general's tent. The battle's won and lost in the general's tent, not on the battlefield. What we would do is like a Sunday night or a Saturday morning, you're looking at your calendar for the next week. You're scheduling out your ATMs. You're thoughtful in that, because you roll into Monday and you're already kind of on Monday autopilot, right? So that's just, I want to just, pause the ATMs and make that suggestion.
Well, and that's a great point, Shane. And it's the difference between these high producing loan officers versus those that react. It's the offense versus defense. If you've ever been to one of our live events, we talk about this all the time. Go into Monday playing offense, not playing defense.
Yeah, you're never as effective when you're reacting versus being proactive, ever, right? So a great ATM on a Monday is something that you're going to do where you're writing social media posts. For example, like we talk about this a lot within the community, and we keep saying that, and people are like, what's the community? BecomeNL.com, and you can find out more about the community. But within the community, we've really refined this strategy around having a private Facebook group. And we use this for referral partners. I use this for agents. This is not the end all be all. It is one way I'm communicating with real estate agents that is easy, it's cheap, and it's scalable, right? And that's something to kind of be thinking about as well. So on a Monday, I'll take an hour and I'll go to Mortgage Currency, Keeping Current Matters, the Fannie Mae Seller Guides, Housing Wire, Redfin blogs, and I'll write 10 to 15 posts. I'll make content on Canva, graphics and things like that. And then I'm pre-scheduling that in my group Monday for the rest of the week. So now think about how cool this is. What if you could communicate to an agent 15 times a week in 1 hour on a Monday at 10 a.m., right? Then if you screw up the rest of the week, you know that one form of communication is getting in front of that realtor every day of your work week. And you could pre-schedule for Saturday as well. And in 1 hour, communicate 6 days to a real estate agent.
Yep.
So that's something great to do on a Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great one. So, think about the other ones that I'm trying to think of good ones that our current members do that are good beginning of the week. Anything that plans out the week, anything that, for some people, it's, making some phone calls to some referral partners. Hey, maybe you had some apps come in over the weekend and you want to check on some things, right? You've got pre-approved and looking borrowers that put contracts in. That's a good ATM. Calling listing agents, absolutely. Creating
conversation and setting the expectations and walking them through your VIP process like a concierge. That's a great Monday or Tuesday, like early week conversation.
That's right. And again, and Shane kind of kicked us off with this. This isn't a one size fits all. So whatever works best for you in your market, you can make that decision and you can execute on the ATMs that are important to you. And this is all part of our Power 90 program. So within Power 90, we challenge you for 90 days to actually hold yourself accountable to the ATMs that you've laid out. And so if you join our group, you get Power 90. We can go into that later. But for those of you that are going to tackle this on your own, again, keep in mind the 3 rules. As you look at things in your business, if you look at things that your team does that have to happen in your office on a weekly basis, identify those items that you like to do, that you're good at, and that make you money. So a lot of times it's teaching classes, it's doing social media, it's networking with realtors, so coffee appointments and those kinds of things. Those are all good ATMs. For some people, it might be taking an application. Maybe that is where you like to spend your time.
That power conversation is a great thing to do on Mondays, because somebody's applied over the weekend, and you know that when you say, "Oh, I'll give them a call," then you get busy and you don't. 3-4 days later, you've been working the file, but you've never talked to the consumer, and a problem comes up and you go, man, I should have called them. Right. Yeah. So that's another great one early in the week.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So we've got a whole kind of idea here of these ATMs, right? And here's the goal, everybody. So if you're listening to this, you're like, okay, I get it, but really, what is it? Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna let everybody in on a really big. Are you ready for this?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, exactly. You guys want to know the secret to being successful? Are you ready? Is every loan officer listening to this? Let me tell you exactly the difference between the guy doing 2 to 3 loans a month and the guy doing 15 loans a month. It's one thing: consistency.
That's it.
That separates me from Tiger Woods, from every other pro golfer, because I am not consistent. I can't be consistent. They have spent their whole life being consistent. As a loan officer, the number one thing we're terrible at is being inconsistent. We're inconsistent calling back our leads. We're inconsistent following up with our realtor partners. We're inconsistent staying in touch with everybody. And the reason we're inconsistent is because we allow ourselves to play defense day in and day out without a game plan, without carved out time for business development. And so we're like a hamster on a wheel, just trying to stay above water and answer and respond to everything that gets thrown our way. And I promise you that if you're a loan officer and you're listening to this and you actually stop that cycle, spend time focused on your business and let the rest of the world lock them out for an hour, if you were to be consistent at that, and again, 1 hour a day, it doesn't have to be 1 hour at 9 a.m. from 9 to 10. It could be 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, but an hour a day is all we ask. I promise you, if you did that for 30 days, so just Monday through Friday, 1 hour for 30 days, your pipeline, your referral partners, everything about your business, the number of leads you have, everything about your business would look completely different in 30 days. The reality is most loan officers don't have what it takes to keep consistent and actually do that on a regular basis. Oh, Shane, you're on mute there.
Well, I think that what's really interesting about what you just dropped, Kellen, is it's so funny that you mentioned the golf analogy. So I was actually at the driving range last night, and I haven't golfed in a year. I have some clubs. I like to think I'm a golfer, but I'm not a good golfer. And then this guy rolls in next to me, right? He's wearing jeans, t-shirt, does not look like he's prepared to be a golfer. Pulls a club out of his really nice bag, puts the ball down, one swing, 300 yards straight. And when somebody who's good hits a golf ball, it sounds different, right?
Yep, you know it.
Then another one, boom. Another one, boom. What was most interesting was not only was he significantly better than me, but I would go up there and I would have to put so much strain and effort and energy into trying to get the ball to do what his ball did with very little effort. What people don't recognize is the people with the most consistency can do that same task with less effort, and it becomes easier, which it's like the flywheel. Do something consistently so that it becomes easier. If it's easier, you can do more of it. If you do more of it and it's impactful, again, you'll be able to generate more revenue. You'll be able to do more things, hire more staff, do the same thing, and you have this flywheel concept. Your point is really important to take home here. People just don't do things consistently because they make excuses. They have shiny object syndrome. They want to try to build the best widget, but never actually do what's required to get the widget to work.
That's right. You're 100% right. And I'll take it a step further. I'm going to call out some people who are listening to this, right? If you're a loan officer, so I had a call with a loan officer the other day, and he said, man, I'm really struggling to get business since refis have kind of dried up. He's like, but I'm working this new strategy. I said, oh man, I love a good new strategy. Tell me what you're doing. He's like, well, I'm going after financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. I said, huh, really? I said, tell me why that's going to be better. Well, man, I just think like they're underserved and, nobody talks to them and this and that. And so I asked him this quick question. I said, how many of your divorce attorney's clients need your services? He said, I don't know, maybe 1 in 10. Okay. So 10%. I said, what about that financial planner? How many of his clients need your service? I don't know, maybe 2 out of 10. Okay, cool. 20%. I said, but what about a realtor? What percentage of their clients need your service? He was like, I don't know, 95%. I go, yeah, maybe you got an occasional cash buyer, but 95%. I said, so you're telling me that your business is suffering and you're going to go spend time over here where only 2 out of 10 of their customers and not where the fish are. And the truth is, and the reality is, Shane, is that loan officers, they don't want to do that work. They don't want to call realtors. They don't want to invest in them. They don't want to take them out. They don't want to put it because they don't like rejection. They don't like cold calling. They don't actually want to do the things that are going to make them money. But to your point, Shane, if I had been doing that consistently, or if this person had been doing that consistently, it would be much less painful. It would be much less awkward, and it would be much more easy to go make it rain if they had been doing it on the regular basis. So don't take your eye off the prize. Press in where things are uncomfortable. That's where growth happens. Press in where things are uncomfortable. If you feel awkward and uncomfortable about doing it, you're probably in the right place. That's right. Do more of it. So, hey, that's great. So that's ATM's team in a nutshell. So one of the things that we've done is if you join our group, you get Power 90. That's our 90-day program. It's super cool. I highly encourage it. For $197 a month, you can be part of our community. And listen, if we get you 1 loan in the year, then it's more than paid for itself. But one of the resources that we also have is we have a Power 90 version for realtors. So a lot of what we just talked about, these ATMs, it's the same for our realtor partners. And so we have a book. Now, will they actually go through the process and be consistent about it? Heck no. We all know the answer to that. But what it does is it gives you an opportunity to have a conversation. It gives you an excuse. So if you're suffering a little bit with that, what do I say? What do I do? How do I have that interaction? This is a great free resource that you can give them in a great conversation to have with those realtor partners. So we've got a sample download available. If you go in the show notes, whether you're on Spotify or Apple Music, go down there. You can actually go in and download a sample of that book, take a look at it. And of course, if you want to join us, if you want to hang out with a bunch of other cool loan officers in our community, we would love for you to be a part of our group. And you can then get access to all of that material included. So a lot of fun there. Shane, what did I leave out?
You crushed it. I think that there are hundreds of ATMs, but the one that's going to win is the one that's done the most often.
That's right.
I'll tell you a quick 1-minute story. I got in this business, and I'm a guy who likes to create, kind of complex, cool shit. And can I say that, Kellen?
I'll allow it.
He just elevated this to like MA 18 mature or whatever ranking on the.
This is practically Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty much. And I used to build really cool, shiny widgets, and I spent probably 6 months building this website and all these cool things. And the reality is that I built this thing that was a 10. And instead of growing my business to 30 or 40 loans a month, which I could have easily done with my team, with the database I had, with the referral network, I was doing 10 loans a month with the best widget on the planet. And I look back and I go, you know what? My definition for success was the wrong one. My definition should have been, how many loans can I close in 39.9 hours so I can go home to my wife, build a college fund for my daughter, put money away so when the market, tanks, which would never happen, I'd feel good. Don't go in it trying to win at having the best shiny object that no one cares about. Do the simple things that win all the time. Right? Like, you don't have to create a new strategy or technique. Just take ones that other people are already winning with, put your own spin on it, and be more consistent than everyone else in your market, and you will win, guaranteed.
100% of the time. And Shane will give you your money back if he's wrong.
We will. I'm happy.
But you're right. I'm telling you, the consistency is the biggest piece. It's absolutely, and that's all ATMs do. It tries to break down those tasks into bite-sized pieces so that you can execute them on a highly consistent level. That's it. Well, listen, if you want to know more about ATMs or you want to get involved in some of our accountability groups, we've got those that help you stay on track. We've got courses to help you identify what your ATMs are. All of these things are available to you inside of our community. We'd love for you to join. It's $197 a month. You can go to becomenl.com and get full access there. Thank you, Shane. I appreciate you dropping those words of wisdom today. Again, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you on the next Level Loan Officers podcast.